It's sunrise, and we are at the old Arrowhead Trailhead in Valley of Fire State Park. And this is the first in-depth exploration of the Muddy Mountains. The Muddy Mountains are the range on the south border of Valley of Fire State Park. And it's interesting. This is the Muddy Mountains are part of the Keystone thrust, which is actually the same fault system that's at the back of Red Rock Park. And this is like deja vu all over again, because when I was in Red Rock Park on Turtlehead Peak, I looked at the mountains at the back of Red Rock Park and I thought, wow, I'd like to climb those cliffs. And so I did a little research, found out that those cliffs are the border of a wilderness area 4 times the size of Red Rock Park, called the La Madre Mountains Wilderness. So here I am in Valley of Fire State Park, and I'm seeing a mountain system at the border of the park. And once again, it is the border, the beginning of a wilderness area. Only this time it is an area 185,000 acres, which is, La Madre Mountain Wilderness is 40,000 acres. Red Rock Park is 10,000 acres. So if you can imagine, the Muddy Mountain Wilderness, 185,000 acres. That's 1/3 the size of the state of Rhode Island, right over these mountains. So we got to explore this. We've got to see what's up here. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go to the top and explore inside the Muddy Mountains a ways. It'll take about 4 hours going in, and when I reach a high point, I'm thinking I'm going to be able to see a panoramic view of Valley of Fire State Park, and also a panoramic view of Lake Mead National Park. Should be an amazing experience. And so let's do a quick 360-degree view. This is looking down toward the Overton arm of Lake Mead. We're now panning around Valley of Fire State Park. There's the beehives formations right down in the center there, this area. And we're just beyond the western entrance of Valley of Fire State Park. Okay, panning around, you can see the beautiful red rock. And then here is the beast. Okay, looking around now. We're approaching the, you've got the road here, the main road, and there's where the western entrance of Valley of Fire State Park is. Now we begin to pan around, and these mountains here that you see are the Muddy Mountains. And there's that fault system, the Keystone thrust fault system. Here you go, 360-degree view. We are going to go up through this pass, if you could call it a pass. It gets a little bit steep in places, and the rocks are very loose, and so it's important to tread lightly in this area. Now, one cool feature is that there are bighorn sheep trails and places where they sleep up in there, and those trails actually are really helpful to navigate the steep rocky areas. So we'll take a look at those trails when we get up in that area. So, okay, here we go. Muddy Mountain exploration. It's only been about 10 minutes and we've ascended pretty rapidly. Here's our starting point. There's the beast. And you can see we've already gained a lot of elevation. Here is the Valley of Fire State Park and the beehives area down around this area, and then panning around, looking down the length of Valley of Fire State Park, and you see just the tip of the Overton arm of Lake Mead, just to the left of the Muddy Mountain Range. Here is the Muddy Mountain Range. And now we get a clearer look at the paths we're going to take. We are going right up this area. I took this last week, and that's how I know where we're headed. I stood on top of this point up here and took a panoramic view of Valley of Fire State Park. Okay, this time though, we're going up through the pass and going beyond. Here are the Muddy Mountains. So you can see the area that we're in, where this elevation suddenly reaches the rocky area of the mountains. That is the point of the Keystone thrust. And you can see that on the overview page for the Muddy Mountains, how that system, that fault system looks. Diagram. Okay, and looking toward the western entrance of Valley Fire State Park, and here are some hills on the west side, and then you see the brilliant rock formations of the 150 to 200,000 year old frozen sand dunes from the times of the dinosaurs. So there's Valley of Fire State Park at sunrise. Very beautiful from this perspective. And we're going to see it open up even more as we go. And then looking down the eastern end of Valley of Fire State Park. Okay, onward we go. We've ascended further up. We've ascended probably around 300 feet. So nothing dramatic. If you've climbed Mount Everest, you probably think this is like nothing. But wow, what a view. Valley of Fire State Park opening before us. Got to watch where I'm stepping. We're on quite an incline right here. Okay, and here's toward the western entrance. Little maintenance area over there. Okay, what I want to show you though is I promised you Bighorn sheep trails. And just as you're trying to navigate this loose rock and incline and it's not easy to navigate, suddenly you receive some help. And that help comes from your Bighorn sheep friends. And here's a little hoof print. Okay, and this is a Bighorn sheep trail. There's a little evidence of the sheep here. They're probably down in the valley early in the morning, enjoying the vegetation there. But here you can see the trail. It's very faint, but it does create a way of navigating what otherwise would be a very steep and loose, rocky slope. And here's this beautiful little trail made by the Bighorn sheep. And so we're going to navigate this trail, using this trail, go right up through this opening up here, as we did last week. And you can see that on the page with the panoramic view of Valley of Fire State Park from this high point right up here. Okay, so what we'll do is, if I see any other dramatic evidence of the bighorn sheep. Now, here is something. Yeah, there are trails all over the place here. They're very faint, so it's not like you're going to see a trail like the trails that you see in a state park or national park, the established trails, but it's very faint, yet very helpful. And just, tread lightly on this loose rock. You don't know what's going to fall around you. But it really helps to have these little trails. See that spot there? That's part of the trail. And then on up, right up through here. Another section of the trail. Now, to a bighorn sheep, that is a great trail. It's a highway in the mountains. So we're going to take that little bighorn sheep highway and head up through this pass. Here we go. What is it like to walk a bighorn sheep trail? Here we are. Here's the trail. And let's just walk a little section of this trail. Here we go. Of course, if I had the hooves of a bighorn sheep, this trail would be a lot easier. But you can see the trail. See a little bit of the trail here, and how it really helps navigate this rocky area. We are on the trail created by bighorn sheep right now. Pretty cool. Up in the Muddy Mountains. Okay, and you can see they go up through this area, which we will do, and then up through the pass. Okay, you just walked a section of a bighorn sheep trail. Probably the first time in your life. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's looking down on the pass we just summited. And there it is right there. And we're going to actually take this area, and our next spot is where you see the light there. We're going to summit there, and then we're going to see what it's like to take a left and go right up this ridge up to that higher summit, and then beyond. So we're going to just wander around in these muddy mountains. But let's take a bighorn sheep's perspective panorama real quick of Valley of Fire State Park at sunrise. So here's the edge of the Muddy Mountains. Here's Valley of Fire State Park opening up in front of us. Beehives right in the center there. Nope, wait a minute, hold it. Yeah, that was right. Then Atlatl Rock and Arch Rock from above. Of course, you can't see them. And then out the western entrance, and then back to this little pass we just summited. By the way, to another piece of perspective here is, let's take a look. Right in the center there, you see that white rock behind the red rocks? That is Silica Dome. Okay. So there you have it. First early morning look at the Valley Fire State Park from this perspective. Okay, we just came through this area. This is the pass where we made our first summit. This high point is the place we stood just a moment ago, took a panoramic view of Valley of Fire State Park. And then now you can see the park opening up even more below us. We've ascended further. And here's Silica Dome coming into even sharper view. And then around, we're still on Bighorn sheep trails. They must have much better traction than I do because it is not the easiest thing keeping your footing on this narrow trail. So this is where we're headed. We're going to go right up through this area, wind around, see if we can find a way up this area, and then along the top of the ridge here to see what we can see. And hopefully that's going to be a really great view of Lake Mead. And you can see the very wild and rugged hills around us. Lots of very artistic little nooks and crannies in the rock. There's a kind of an arch right there. Amazing shapes that have been created in these rocks. And around again. Okay, our next view is going to be somewhere beyond this pinnacle and hopefully in a high point where we can look down the other side of the mountains. Okay, let's go. Now I'm in a pass. You can see Valley of Fire State Park, and the area right down here is the campground that is at Beehives. So gives you an idea where we are. We've come up through this pass now. We continue to rise. And as you can see, cliffs on either side. Still traveling the Bighorn sheep trails. Pretty beautiful silhouettes these rocks make. Okay, so where are we headed? It's amazing how, two things happen up here. One is when you get up into an area, it's not as easy to look from below, but on the other hand, things open up. And so here we have a little opening We're going to go right up that to a high point and then take a left. So here we go. Looking down through the pass we just came from, and what we're seeing is Valley of Fire State Park getting lower and lower, stretching out below us. And here we are. Let's take a 360-degree view, see where we are. We're at a height in the Muddy Mountains. Definitely opening up. We're in the sun. And it's a beautiful little area up here. It's like a whole world in itself. All these plants have been growing for ages and ages in this spot. Nobody sees them. Now there is a faint trail you can see in front of us. And whether it's bighorn sheep or whether it's people that have passed through here, I do not know. But what we're going to do, we're going to go up to the high point up there, look around, and then I'm suspecting that we need to get onto this ridge system over here in order to look down upon the Lake Mead area. So yeah, it seems like every time we hit a summit, there are some higher mountains, and it's like you're not going to see Lake Mead yet because there are more mountains. So we'll see. We may end up going right up through this area and reaching a height. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to head up to the height up here and get a better perspective so we can look around and see where we want to go next. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's pretty windy up here, but we went to that ridge, that higher ridge. We went to the pass, took a left, and now we're up at the top of that ridge, which gives us an even better view of Valley of Fire. I hope you can hear because it is very windy here. Okay, let's take a look at a few landmarks. There is Silica Dome in the distance. And then, guess what? I keep calling things white domes because I'm not sure where they are when I'm looking down, but now I am sure. There's the White Domes area, right in the center there. And then, looking down on the Beehives campground, Beehives area, and Atlatl Rock, Arch Rock area, and then you can just see the whole Valley of Fire stretching around. I'm going to jerk a little bit because I'm on a less than secure footing here on loose rock. But here we have, let's see if we can hit the entrance of, there we go. Okay, the entrance of Valley of Fire Park is right down in this area. You can see the highway down here. Make sure I keep my eye on the cliff edge. Don't get too involved with this camera. This way. Here is a better look at the Overton arm of Lake Mead. Now, can we see all of Lake Mead? No. And season. As we circle around this way, more mountains. Now, I keep thinking I get to the next height and I'm going to be able to see Lake Mead. So the next area that we're going to go is right up through this area, see what we can see from that height. Maybe we will see Lake Mead from there, or maybe we'll see more mountains. We don't know. And then looking around, I just came up through this area down at the bottom of this ridge right here. You see the edge of the cliff, and I came up through this little pass. I'm going to need to find that to get back. So, yeah, looking at a lot of landmarks along the way, but it looks like it's not too impossible to go up to the next height. So we'll do that. Maybe we'll we'll go up to this height, which looks like the highest thing around, and see what we can see from there. So, okay, onward, further in. Now in a valley. What it's called, I do not know, even if it has a name. But this is a valley between the height we were standing on a moment ago. There it is. Looking around here. There's the pass that's going to take us back home. And looking around this way, I want to stand up on that height up there and just look around. Maybe we'll see Lake Mead from there, or maybe we'll see more mountains and see another height that we want to go to. Who knows? In the meantime, here we are down in this valley. Reminds me of a little story. A friend of mine yesterday said, "Oh, you're going in the Muddy Mountain Wilderness? There are mountain lions there, and they're really big. And what you need to do is watch out for the back of your neck. Don't let them grab the back of your neck." So that's a nice little picture to take into this wilderness. Actually, mountain lions are very shy. I guess in Southern California they've been known to attack people. Not so much in this area, but that might be because no one goes here. Who knows? But anyway, that's just part of being in a wild spot. There is that excitement of not knowing exactly what to expect, and the feeling that you're not in you're not in your home, you're not in your backyard, you're not in your living room. But I feel safer and more at peace in areas like this than I do anywhere else on Earth. So here we are, and it's got its own beauty. Look at how the sun just shines on these hills. Entire plant communities that live and thrive in this area. Animals, bighorn sheep, make their home here. Whole world that we don't normally, think about. And here it is, right here. And we're only about an hour from the Las Vegas Strip. So, pretty amazing. Okay. Onward and up to the top of that mountain. See what we can see. That may be our last summit for the day. I don't know. We'll see what time it is when we get up there. Time for another quick 360. Okay, here we're looking down on probably the Charlie's Spring area near the base of those red rocks. And we're in a valley up in the Muddy Mountains right now. Here's the height we were on a moment ago. Here's the pass that we came through when we ascended from Valley of Fire State Park. And you see the mountains around us. And there is a high point up ahead. I'd like to stand on this high point and look around. Maybe we'll see Lake Mead from there. In order to get up there, I'm going to go ahead and ascend through this opening and then take a right, see how far I can get. I don't know if there are cliffs in the way or what the land looks like, but we'll find out when we get up there. See what we can see from that vantage point. Okay, here we go. And the rest of the 360-degree view. And this beautiful little valley. And back down to Valley of Fire State Park, and where I believe Charlie's Spring is located down in front of those red rocks. Okay, here we go. Looking straight down this valley into Valley of Fire State Park, and now we're recognizing the Seven Sisters rock formation right in the center. Yeah, visitor center to your left, Elephant Rock to your right, and behind those red hills there is Fire Canyon. Seven Sisters rock formation. And then let's take a 360-degree view. We were just on this height a moment ago, looking down on Valley of Fire State Park. To get there, we came through this opening. Always good to keep track of where you've been and where you're headed. And then looking around, see the mountains around us, and here is the height we want to stand on in a moment. To get there, we're going to go up over this saddle and then take a right and then head up to the top and see what we can see from right up there. So lots opening up around us. And as I look off in the distance, I shouldn't be asking this question, but what are those mountains over there? We will find out at some point. Maybe we'll stand on those one of these days. Okay, onward and upward. As we continue to rise, time for another 360-degree view. And looking straight down this valley, there are the Seven Sisters right in the center. And we go just a little to the left, There's the Valley of Fire State Park Visitor Center. And then a little above that, Silica Dome. And then over in this direction, we stood on the ridge up here. And right over that ridge, you look carefully, you can see white domes. And then down this area, Atlatl Rock and Arch Rock. And then see that, I can't see because the sun's glaring in the screen here, but I'm hoping that you can see a brown hill system in front of the red hills in the distance. That is the hill system you circle in order to do the Pinnacles Loop Trail. And if you look carefully at the base of those hills, you can see the actual Pinnacles Loop Trail. So there you have it. And then let's take a look. Finish the 360. And we need to get to the top of this cliff. No, I'm not going to climb the rock itself. But what I'm going to do is head up this direction up to that spot and then take a right, and hopefully there will be a way up to the top. And it'll be very interesting to see what we can see once we top this ridge here. Maybe we'll see Lake Mead. Maybe we'll see more mountains. We'll find out. And then the rest of the 360-degree view. Back to the Valley of Fire, Seven Sisters Visitor Center. So here we go. Up through this opening up here. Further up and further in. Okay, we've topped yet another ridge, and Valley of Fire Park is definitely opening up below us, even more so. White domes down in this area. And panning around, there is Silica Dome. And you know, Fire Canyon goes right along the backside of Silica Dome. And so it's through those red rocks. The Seven Sisters right down here. And that means the visitor center is right there in the center. So continuing to pan around, we have yet another valley opening up below us. And the Lake Mead area would be behind those mountains, so there are yet more mountains. We may not see Lake Mead today. I don't know. We got one more chance to see it. And that is climbing this area to the height that we've been looking at. So on top of those cliffs we looked at a moment ago, we stand up there. Perhaps we will see Lake Mead. We'll see. Very elusive today. And then continuing around the 360-degree view. Back down through the valley we just passed. And back to Valley of Fire State Park. Okay, let's go onward, get to the top of this next rise. Here we are at our final high point for the day, and we're going to get a beautiful panorama of Valley of Fire State Park and then the Muddy Mountain Wilderness. So here we are looking at Valley of Fire State Park and the Atlatl Rock area, Arch Rock area. Panning around, you see white domes and the Prospect Trail down in the distance. There you go, white domes, Prospect Trail and Pinnacles. There's the Pinnacles Trail down at the base of the brown hills there, and then the Prospect Trail going up in that direction toward White Domes, continuing to pan around. We can see Silica Dome, and just in front of those red hills and a little bit to the right of Silica Dome, there is the visitor center for Valley of Fire State Park. And then continuing around, there are the Seven Sisters. And you're looking pretty much at the Overton arm of Lake Mead. In fact, here is a better view. It's where it's starting to open up. That's the most we're going to see of Lake Mead, though. Continuing around now, you're looking at another valley in the Muddy Mountains Wilderness. And basically you're seeing the Muddy Mountains Wilderness. Here it is, spread before us. We'll pan around here. Not having been here before, I don't know any of the landmarks. We'll figure those out in the future. Once again, I'm on a precarious position here, so I gotta be careful, keep my eye on my feet as I'm panning around here, showing the area. The Muddy Mountains Wilderness, 1/3 the size of the state of Rhode Island. And we're seeing the whole place spread before us. Okay, now there is a pretty substantial lake down in this direction, or a waterway. And there's not much of that in the Las Vegas area, which is a desert. So I would guess that this may be fed in part by the Colorado River, which would make this an arm of Lake Mead. I don't know. I'll get a map out later and flash that. You know, what I discover, I'll flash that on the screen here. If I actually discover what that body of water is. But there aren't many bodies of water that big around the Las Vegas area in the desert. And here we are again Okay, so this is the height and the distance of where we're going today. We're going to head back now. It's been a great day, great introduction to the Muddy Mountains Wilderness in Nevada. 185,000 acres. And as you can see, untouched. There are a few dirt roads down there. Not much. I think I see just one road in the distance. So there is an access road, probably four-wheel drive. Little crow. Okay, so, a raven maybe. Okay, so, what we're going to do next week is we're going to go to the Bowl of Fire, which is on the other side, the lower end of the Muddy Mountains Wilderness, and maybe see if we can get a perspective from that end of the wilderness. In the meantime, another adventure. What an awesome day this has been. Okay, signing off. Ever had that weird feeling that you're walking on an ancient ocean floor? Well, I believe there are some fossils in these rocks. There are in a number of places bands on these rocks, brown bands, and I actually found what looks like a little fossil here. So anyway, looks like a shell. And these rocks are just peppered with colored bands, brown bands, and I feel that I'm looking at an ancient ocean floor and the fossils from that ocean floor. Not sure, but make a good bet that we are. You know, notice the brown bands on these rocks. Anyway, just a thought. And here we are in the Muddy Mountains Wilderness. Heading back to find our way back to Valley of Fire State Park. Here we are back at the Beast. 360. Down in the Valley of Fire again. What a great excursion. First deep excursion into the Muddy Mountains. Okay, homeward.